Rep the South Side whenever you pay with your White Sox debit card from Wintrust Community Banks and score perks like free ATMs, no monthly fees, and a $300 opening bonus. Pay with pride every time with Wintrust, Chicago's bank.
Hey everybody, it's Chuck Garfien. Welcome back to another edition of the White Sox Podcast. It is brought to you as always by our great friends at Wintrust, Chicago's bank. Show your team pride with the White Sox debit card. Get yours at wintrust.com/Sox. Member FDIC, EHL lender. All right, I'm inside the White Sox TV truck for Chicago Sports Network, and I'm talking with Chris Withers, sports producer for White Sox baseball. And they do great broadcasts on a daily and nightly basis. But they've been presenting something really, really special to White Sox fans every Friday night home game. It's called Friday Night White Sox All Access. It was Chris's idea, and he's going to take us behind the scenes with what goes on with this broadcast, what it takes to put this on the air, the buy-in by the White Sox, front office, all the way down to the players, and why this is such a special and fun and exciting broadcast every Friday night home game. Chris Withers on the podcast. You're really going to like this. It's coming your way. Let's do it. All right, I'm here where all the magic happens, all the TV magic happens, here with Chris Withers of CHSN, TV producer extraordinaire. It is magic. What you guys make. When I come in this truck, or I just see how you guys make TV happen, it feels magical. Does it feel magical to you?
Probably not as much to you because it's what we do every day. But I think at times, I think we make moments seem pretty magical to fans, and I think to people watching, you get a chance to sometimes see us in our element, and I think to some people it's pretty impressive. I think to us it seems like it's just what we do on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'll walk in and I'll see you guys doing a broadcast, and you're hitting buttons and doing things and calling shots. I'm like, how is this all coming together? You've got a good team behind you, don't you? Can you talk about the team you have?
Yeah, amazing team. I mean, from director to our crew to best tape room in the country, best audio in the country. It's not even close. Our graphics and research teams. This is my third team in Major League Baseball, and I have all the respect in the world for everybody in Minnesota and Milwaukee, but this is the best crew I've ever worked with in baseball. I don't say that just because I'm here right now, but this is some of the best people I've ever worked with in television, and some of the most talented people I've ever worked with in television.
And it's like you're home away from home. You guys spend a lot of time in close quarters with each other.
Yep, we see these people more than we see our families during a baseball season. You know that as well. That's what a baseball season is. These people become family. So it's entertaining in that way, and you have some of those types of dynamics sometimes. You have your good days, your bad days. Everyone's got their days, right? So, but we try and keep it fun while still doing our job, keeping it professional, and also trying to do the best television we can every night.
So I have so many questions about Friday Night All Access, but I really first want to go into what you do, because I think there's a lot of people watching, listening that don't know the ins and outs of television, how to get this broadcast on the air. So for you, start with your game prep. How much game prep do you do for the game? Because you're behind the scenes. You got John and Steve and Brooke and Connor doing the game, but you're also pulling strings behind the scenes.
Yeah, so for like a 6:30 game, I'm usually getting going about 8 in the morning, start just researching, things that happened the night before, who the starting pitcher is tonight, history batters have, hot streaks, cold streaks, storylines. We have sponsored elements, and then trying to figure out who's going to talk about what. What hits do I give to Brooke? What hits do I give to Connor? Some of them have hits that we've already kind of branded for themselves. What are we going to do in the opens? Trying to format that, kind of come up with a game plan for that, and then where does all of that fit? Because I always want it to flow. I don't ever want to try and take 90-degree turns. I want it to all flow so that it's one 9-inning conversation between all 4 of them for the game. So, and then we get here about 1 o'clock. I think a lot of people think
7 o'clock or 6:40
for a 6:30 game. Yeah. So I think a lot of people think we show up an hour before the game. That is not quite how it works. And then we prep all of that, and we build our graphics, we build the tapes that we're going to run, and the packages and all that, and then have conversations with John and Steve and Connor and Brooke. Make sure they all know kind of the game plan. And that's all before the clubhouse is even opened and news has come out. Then, we have a roster move, or, this guy said this, or this guy's dinged up, or now they've scratched somebody from the lineup, so this storyline doesn't work anymore, so we need to change it to this. So
big puzzle.
It is. It's a big puzzle every single day, but that's the fun of it. That's trying to figure out how to make that flow every single night. That's the challenge, and I guess that's the part of the job that I love the most, is making sure that we're entertaining, informing the fans, but also still covering the game in front of us, because also then all of that can be done, and every night we show up here, we have no idea what's going to happen on that field. I've shown up for 2 no-hitters here with 𝗵𝗪 𝗠𝗠 and Carlos Rodon. We didn't show up knowing there was going to be a no-hitter that night. We had other things planned that night, and then the game takes over, and you have to adjust. So the game's always first. Those storylines always, you try and find a way to weave those in. Sometimes it's great because you get a game that maybe isn't as great, and then you can tell those stories. But then there's other times all that prep work goes away, and you have to adjust to all of a sudden you've got a no-hitter in the 7th inning, and this is what it becomes.
People, if they want an adrenaline rush, can maybe go on a roller coaster, they can skydive, or you can produce a live baseball game. What kind of adrenaline rush is this on a nightly basis?
I'm old and I've done it for a long time now, but I think it still gets the blood pumping every night. I mean, there's moments, tight games in the 8th, 9th inning, walk-off hits, big at-bats for White Sox pitchers to get out of jams, things like that it makes you feel alive. And I try and feel what the fans feeling at home in these big moments. It makes you feel a part of it. It really does. And I get one shot to deliver that moment to the people at home. That's where I get the adrenaline rush, because I don't get a chance to say, you know what, that didn't go so well, let's try that over again. Get one chance and you don't get it back.
So when the game starts, game's going on, what are you doing? Are you doing many things? So how can you kind of describe to fans what you do, because they don't see you, they don't hear you, but there's things going on that people don't know about?
Yeah, so really the flow of everything. So walking up a next hitter, knowing what's coming next. So this guy's coming up next, we've got this sponsored element, or we have this graphic on him, or he hit a home run last night, or he hit a big double last night. We're going to walk him up with that. Well, then all of a sudden the hitter in front of him hits a big double. Now we're going to replay that instead. So we go replays, change the plan there. Make sure John and Steve know what's coming up next, getting in team promos, getting in the sponsored elements, letting them know when Brooks going to come in, letting them know when Connor's going to come in, letting them know we're going to toss out to Chuck and Ozzy to tease the post-game show, letting them know if we're going to keep that banter going and two-box you guys, leave you on camera,
sometimes
all
you
that
do,
stuff.
sometimes you don't.
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, always adjusting to you guys. Just making sure that everyone's aware of what's coming next. That's both crew and for the on-air personalities, making sure that they know kind of where my plan is next, and then we adjust to each hitter, we adjust to each moment in the game. I'll be sitting on a promo, then all of a sudden you get a great strike 3. Nope, we're killing the promo, we're going replay. So it's always adjusting that, getting us in and out of breaks, getting all the sponsored elements in, getting all the team promos in. So besides that, really nothing.
Nothing.
So, no.
Yeah, sounds like you sit down, you kick your feet up for 3 hours, and you let
Watch
the
a ball
game take place.
Just watch baseball. Yep.
Yeah, that might have happened, I don't know, 40 years ago. Lots more going on right now.
There's some things going on, yeah.
All right, so you came up with this idea. You have a lot of ideas, but you came up with this big one, White Sox Friday night, all access. How did this manifest itself? And then we're going to get to how it actually gets on the air.
Yeah, so this is an idea I've had. This is a show I've wanted to do for years. I came to the Chicago White Sox in 2020.
Great timing.
Yeah, 2020 was not going to happen. I didn't even meet anybody that I worked with in 2020. We sure weren't getting any access with players in 2020. Yeah. So in 2021, I pitched the idea, and I got laughed out of the room. That's never happening. I knew I had something though. 22, our off-season meeting. Said, I'm going to bring this up again, guys. Here's what I want to do. No chance that's happening. 2023, you're really going to bring this up again? Like I'm almost wearing them out.
You're talking about the White Sox.
Yeah, because...
And to their defense, they're like every other team in Major League Baseball. Why would we do this?
No question. We're asking a ton of the players. Yes. We're asking a ton of the PR. The front office has to sign off on it because we're asking to talk to players in-game. We're asking to mic them up, all this stuff. So I have to pitch this to a lot of people. And I totally understood. At some point, I was trying to get them there, but totally understood their reluctance. No one else was doing a show like this. No one else was asking for this kind of access. So I get that. But I also knew if we could get a proof of concept that it was going to be a good show. And then something switched going into the 2024 season. Maybe I wore them down. Maybe there was just an acceptance to, you know what, maybe this is something we could do. And you were there for version 1. You did version 1 with me at NBC. And
I was the guinea pig.
I don't know about that. I mean, we always have that, though. We always have that season.
Yes.
And so going into it, I got the green light. And I'll never forget, we were sitting on the second floor here at the ballpark, and they said, all right, let's do this. And I was very excited. Years of sticking with it finally paid off. But then the work had to begin, because now it was a proof of concept. I had to prove that this was a good idea and this was going to work. And I'll never forget the night against Cleveland, or I think it was our second one. The first one against Cincinnati didn't go well. We were down 6-0 in the third inning. We got a few things done, but it was that next Friday night against Cleveland. That's the one I'll never forget, because that was the proof of concept that I was like, this is what I thought was going to work. This is what I pictured in my head. And then we've been off and running ever since, and kind of adding to it, making it bigger and better. I said you were kind of there for version 1, because I do feel like this is kind of version 2. We've added some things. We're miking guys up every single time. We've got the starting pitchers now. If they have a good start back by the clubhouse, as soon as they come out of the game, nothing anybody else is doing in regional baseball. No one else is doing that. So we're adding to it. But that's kind of like, that's been the evolution of this. But it wasn't just an overnight idea. This was 3 years of no's, but sticking with it, because I was very confident that this was something that would work well on television.
Yeah, because this is a huge buy-in by the front office, by the coaches, by the players, and I was really surprised. Well, actually, Ed, I wasn't surprised knowing the players who were on the team last year, that there'd be enough buy-in.
Yep.
But for everyone to say yes, that really surprised me. And I remember it was Paul DeYoung came up to me after like one game. He goes, "This is cool. Let's just do it. As much as you wanted to have me on, let's do it." And when you said the Cleveland game, was that the game where I'm interviewing Paul DeYoung? And he goes, "It's the 8th inning. They're up like 3-2, 4-2," and he says something like, "We need to add on runs."
As a home run gets
literally
hit.
says that. After he says that, Andrew Vaughn, it's a home run.
Yep.
I felt the microphone shaking, like the electrical surge went through me. That your idea, like, just hit a grand slam.
Yeah, that one, and then the Gavin Sheets one was great too. You talked to him in the open, and then he said, "We're going to do an interview in the game because I'm going to hit a home run." And he hits a home run and came right over to you, and you said, "Hey, you told me we were going to do this again, and here we are. We're doing it again." We've had some really, really special moments. We've had some special moments this season too. I mean, I think when you get Miguel Vargas with a go-ahead RBI and he's talking with Brooks, still with his batting helmet on. He hasn't even taken his helmet off. It happened 20 seconds ago. You don't get that every single night in baseball. And to their credit, like, I understand, like, that's why this has to be on a Friday night. This has to be a specific night, because we're asking a lot of the PR group, the front office, the players. This could never happen every night. We'd wear these guys out. But for one night, they give us the access. They give us the chance to talk to these guys after big moments happen. Somebody's going to wear a mic every night. We talk to the coaches. 𝗏 gives us his time in the 4th inning. It's incredible television that you don't find anywhere else.
Yeah, and there were times I would look at the lineup before the game. This is last year. I'm sure it's probably the same this year, where 6 out of the 9 guys are in. 2 of the guys, or one of the guys, doesn't speak English and doesn't do English interviews, so that's fine. That could be Luis Robert Jr., Lenny Sosa. And then 1 or 2 would say, "No, I don't want to do an interview during the game, but I'll talk with you right before it." And I'm like, well, that's buy-in by a team.
Yep, it's buy-in by a team. It's and like you said, front office too has to sign off on it, because we're talking to their players. While they're playing a Major League Baseball game, guy hits a home run, we're talking to him right after it. Guy from the bullpen gets out of a huge situation, we're talking to him right after it happens. Great diving play in the outfield. Michael Taylor made a great catch a couple weeks ago on a Friday Night All Access. We got him as he came off the field to talk about that defensive play. That type of access, to have the buy-in from the players, like you said. So we get a list before every game of who's in and who's out, who says, yes, I'll do something in the game. And the amount of buy-in, like you said, we average probably 6-7 guys. Now, another great story that I remember is you got Corey Lee after a home run. Corey Lee was then late to a little meeting with Ethan because he was catching, and was late to a little meeting with Ethan Katz, the starting pitcher. The catchers are now off limits, which I completely understand. So the catchers are always going to be a no in our lineup, and I understand that. But the Corey Lee moment was great.
I got the first and only catcher.
You did, and I remember he was like, I gotta go. I think there's a meeting going on here. So the catchers are off limits now, but the amount of buy-in, the number of we get more yeses than we get nos, and that's the important part. That's what makes this successful.
What are you hearing from other people in the industry about this broadcast?
Jealousy. I mean, this is the show they want to do, and they either don't have the buy-in from the front office or just it's a big show. We ask a lot, and some people have told me that it's too much work. I mean, in all honesty, there's a lot of people I think that want to do this show but don't, for various reasons, have the ability to.
You mic up a player, and I always wonder this: is there somebody listening the entire game to see what he says?
So you asked me what I do during a game.
Yeah.
So Friday night, just add that to my list. So yes, I'm now actually.
You're the one doing that?
I'm listening to the player as well, but also Joe Collins is also listening. Does a great job with our tape operator, because one specific tape operator will build all that mic'd up stuff. So they're listening and logging it, but I'm also listening, and then they're putting those packs together, selling me when we've got 2-3 good things. All right, we've got probably a good 40-second pack. They're coming up next half inning, or while they're out in the field, we can do it. So we've got a few ears on it, but it's a group. This whole thing's a team effort. The whole thing. I mean, Chris Getz signing off on it was huge. What we ask of Bob Bechtel and Scott Reifert and Billy Russo and Joe Rohde, huge thanks to them, because I ask a lot of them on those nights. Joe Collins, Victor Navarro, getting the guy mic'd up. We've gotten to the point where the team gets us his undershirt before the game so we can get the mic placed on his shirt before he puts his jersey on. Like, I've never been a part of a project that involves this much cooperation. This is always a team effort, always. But the number of people you need to have rowing the boat in the same direction to make this work, I've never been a part of anything like this, and every time it comes together, it just puts a smile on my face, because it's incredible to see it come together.
Okay, so I got to talk a little bit more about last season, and then we'll get to this season. So last season, you start this, I'm a part of it. And yeah, we know the White Sox lost 121 games. And they particularly did not play well on Friday nights. So we'd have all these plans, and they'd be down like 7-0 in the second inning. And you know what? As a reporter, what I'm not going to do when they're down 7-0, try to do an interview with anybody.
And as a producer, I'm not going to ask you to grab a guy when we're down 7-0.
So for most nights last year, despite all the work, the season was the season.
Yep.
It did not work. And if you ask me what's the difference between this year and last year, there are many reasons why this season is so much better. Just look at Friday Night All Access. At this point, and I'm not jinxing it because it's been said many times and it has not come to fruition, you guys are undefeated.
Undefeated.
So I was the problem. I had to get out of there. Brooke Fletcher had to get in the camera well, and now the Sox are undefeated.
It's that obviously is a huge help. That's
Brooke Fletcher's in the camera well, and I'm not.
Them winning is also a huge help.
Sorry,
them winning is a huge help to it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had our challenges last year. We did, and this year the winning has helped, and I still got a few tricks up my sleeve.
Okay.
But the winning has definitely made this, I think, even a bigger broadcast, because there's more of those in-the-moment interviews to do. It's like you said, guy hits a home run to make it 7-1. We're down 7-1 now. We're not looking to talk to him. We've had moments where a go-ahead hit, a huge defensive play has mattered because those games have been going in the White Sox favor. So it just makes for better television. Obviously, it always makes it for better television when they're winning. But on a Friday Night All Access, then, when you're getting those guys to talk about those moments that created the win, makes the show all that much better.
Yeah, they don't need to win the game. They just got to be in it.
Be competitive.
Until the ninth. And this team, I would say 95% of the time, is in the game in the 7th inning this year.
Even not on Friday Night All Access.
Yeah, that's
one of the big changes this season. This is much more competitive baseball and much better television when that's happening.
Yeah, and I think Brooke asks good questions, and she knows how to ask them. Because I've been in that situation, and you only have a couple of moments. A few questions, you got to be able to nail those questions and ask them the right way, and she's been doing that.
She's been incredible, and you sat in that spot. She has she has worked ridiculously hard on those Friday nights. I ask a ton of her. She's going from the dugout over to Will
Ozzie
Venable.
and I are always like, wow, Brooke is working her tail off here today. She's here, she's there, she's everywhere.
She's all over the place, and Connor as well.
Yes.
You know, Connor's doing kind of the big picture stuff, and from time to time has an interview up there on the perch as well from his beautiful shot up there where you guys do the pre and post game show. So they both do, but Brooke has run around this ballpark on Friday Night All Access, and all the credit to her because all she's done is crush it.
All right, so you have some tricks up your sleeve. What could possibly be next?
That's a great question, and I have dealt with that and thought about it a lot. I think the next thing I really want to do, and this is probably for something next season, but the player that we have mic'd up, I want to get a small camera put on them as well. So all of their mic'd up content is from their point of view also. So it's that camera with their mic'd up audio. One thing we are working on this year, I'll tease this a little bit. I think we're going to get it to happen. But Brooke is going to do a Crib style edition of the bullpen.
Oh.
She has been invited down to the bullpen to kind of see.
By the way, I've got a little background information on this. This was a player's idea.
Yes, it was.
Can we share the player's name?
Mike Vassell.
Was it Vassell or Talkman?
I believe it's a bet between the two of them of when she's going to get down there to do the cribs. It was those two. It was those two that were involved. Yes.
All right. Okay.
And will it happen this Friday? I don't know, but we are working on it. We are working on it. This Friday also, Chase Meidroth mic'd up, which we've had some amazing mic'd up moments. I think this Friday could be the bet. He talks out there. He talks. I think we're going to get some incredible audio from Chase.
As I'm thinking about the bullpen idea, this is going to be a slam dunk because you're going to go there early in the game.
Yep.
They're not stressed out. It's very cool, calm, collected, and there is a culture that
yes, there is. Yeah.
There is an atmosphere that people don't know about. I mean, I just hear little things about it, but like those guys are a tight group, and no one ever goes there other than the pitchers. And you guys are going to go in there. I'm very curious. Like, what kind of setup do they have there?
That's the point. Is there a fridge? Yeah. I don't know. There's got to be, right? Do they have books down there? I don't know. What do they do to pass the time? Brooke's going to get us all the answers, like MTV Crib style. But I think it says something for the show also. The fact that this wasn't my idea, Brooke's idea. Like, the players brought this idea. Like, Brooke, you need to come do a Cribs version in the bullpen. That's we're talking about buy-in.
Yeah.
That's buy-in when you start having players come up with ideas of what we should be doing on All Access. I don't know that it's as well received if Brooke goes into the clubhouse or I go to PR and go, what about Brooke going into the bullpen for like a crib style? I, again, would probably get laughed out of the room. It changes, though, when the players bring the ideas to us. And that, I love seeing that because that's full buy-in for this show then.
Well, credit to you for all the work you've done to get this on the air, and it's flourishing, and I'm so glad the results have been better. And on top of it, they're wearing their City Connect uniforms for all these, so it adds to the uniqueness of the look of these games.
Yeah, I think gorgeous uniforms. It's just all come together this year. It really has. The fact that they decided to go with the City Connects on Friday nights, they're undefeated. I like to think they're undefeated on Friday Night All Access. Others probably think they're undefeated with the City Connect jerseys, but we'll go either way. But we've taken the next step, and it's my job now to figure out what that next step is because it is a great show. Very proud of it, all the hard work. But we can't just be happy with what we've done now. We've got to figure out what the next thing is and where that access comes from. Doing a crib style thing in the bullpen, getting a camera on the guy who's mic'd up. We've got some ideas, so it's we're not just gonna stay still. We're gonna keep going.
Saturday night, all access. No, I'm joking.
No, please, no.
How much do you sleep on Friday night? You just hit the bed hard, I'm sure.
Really hard, yes. Yeah, not much Thursday night. But Saturday I have no problem getting to sleep. It takes about 30 seconds. It's a lot. I feel like I've gotten out of a 12-round boxing match. There's just a lot of moving pieces, and again, that's a credit to our entire crew too, because they've got a lot that I'm throwing at them. You talked about Brooke running around, all that stuff. John and Steve adapting when she's got an interview, all that stuff. It's a big show, so it is nice to get a good night's sleep after a Friday night.
Well, listen, I know White Sox fans want a lot more wins coming. There's so much work going on behind the scenes, and what you guys are giving Sox fans right now especially means a lot, and I appreciate all you do, Chris Withers.
Thank you very much.
All right, Chris Withers here on the White Sox Podcast. Oh my God, could you imagine if 𝗵 Harrelson was doing this? 'Cause I got to toss to 𝗵 Harrelson here. Hawk on Friday Night All Access. Sit back, relax, and strap it down. Hawk, take it away.
All right, Chuck, this edition of the White Sox Podcast is over.